Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. Lots of 20s that we are writing there on today's date. But today we are going to be reading a news story, and it's called Rain at School. While I'm reading this, I want you all to think about the essential question. It says, how can weather affect us? We talked about this with our last little story about the icy weather. Now we're going to be thinking about it in this story, Rain School. We're going to read why the school has to be rebuilt every single year. Well, that just sounds crazy. We don't have to rebuild our school every single year. I wonder what's going to happen. That's why I want you all to think about while we're reading. Once again, this book is a realistic fiction. Just a reminder, realistic fiction means it is fake, but it's something that really could happen. It really could take place. Some fiction stories have animals that can talk, and that really can't happen. So that's just a true fiction story. But this is a realistic fiction because it really could happen. So keep that in mind as we are reading the story. Rain School by James Rumford. In a country of Chad, it's the first day of school. The dry dirt road is filling up with children. Big brothers, big sisters are leading the way. Will they give us a notebook? Thomas asked. Will they give us a pencil? Will I learn to read like you? Stop asking so many questions and keep up, says big brother to big sister. Thomas arrives at the schoolyard, but there was no classroom and there were no desks. It doesn't matter. There is a teacher and we will rebuild our school, she says. This is the first lesson. Could you imagine showing up and there not being a school? Thomas learns to make mud bricks and dry them in the sun. He learns to build mud walls and a mud desk. He gathers grass and saplings with the other children, and they make a roof. Inside, it is cool. It smells of earth. It smells of fields ready for planting. Thomas helps bring in little wood stools. Everyone sits down. This is the moment they've been waiting for. The teacher brings in a blackboard. On it, she writes, A, says the teacher. A, says Thomas with the other children. The teacher writes a letter with big strokes in the air. The students do the same thing, over and over. Wonderful, says the teacher. She hands out notebooks and pencils. Page 1, says the teacher. Thomas opens the notebook to the first page and holds his pencil ready and waiting. Now, write the letter A. Beautiful, says the teacher as she looks at the students' work. Every day, Thomas learns something new. Every day, the teacher cheers him and the other children on. Excellent job, she says. Perfect, my learning friends. If you all look at the map on her table, she's pointing to Chad, and it is in Africa. The 9 months of the school year fly by. The last day has come. We're so close to our last day, too. The students' minds are fat with knowledge. Their notebooks are rumpled from learning. Thomas and the other children call out, "Thank you, teacher." She smiles and says, "Well done, hard-working friends. See you next year." Thomas and the other children race home. The school is empty, and just in time, the big rains have started, and the drops come down, hard and fast. Strong winds tear the grass roof. The rain finds its way inside. The school's mud walls are soaked and start to slump. The mud desk too. Slowly, the school disappears until there was almost nothing left. Doesn't matter. The letters have been learned and the knowledge taken away by the children. Come September, school will start over. Thomas will be a big brother then, leading the children on their first day to school. They will all stand in the front of their smiling teachers, ready to build their school again. Guys, can you believe it? This school, every year they have to rebuild it because when the big rains come, it washes their school away. And so that's the very first project they have at the beginning of the year, is building a brand new school over and over again. This blanket trip, I actually have been to Kenya, which is fairly close to Chad in Africa. But when I was there, I went to lots of different schools. I went to 3 or 4 different schools to learn in. And it's pretty accurate. Their school is made out of mud a lot of times. And they did have grass roofs. So it's very interesting reading about that and being able to make my own personal connections between the story and what I experienced. Today, we're going to complete the 5 questions for Rain School. So here's your worksheet for today for our reading. It says, why do you think the big brothers and sisters lead the way to school? Why do you think that they take the lead? 2, what is the first thing the students do on their first day of school? 3, describe the inside of the school building. 4, what happens to the school building at the end of the school year? 5, how is school in the country of Chad like yours? So how is it the same? Don't forget that while you are writing these sentences, that we need capital letters at the beginning, we need finger spaces between our words, we need punctuation marks at the end. That will make us the most successful with all of our writing today. So go ahead and get started and finish up that reading. Don't forget your grammar afterwards.